In the game of power, one rule never changes. If you don't know what's going on around you, you're already behind, and that makes you weak. Whether it's your competition, a so-called friend, or even your rivals, staying in the dark puts you at a serious disadvantage. The real power comes from knowing their next move before they make it. But how do you get that kind of information? Well, that's where Law 14 of power comes into play. Pose as a friend, work as a spy. It's simple. You build trust, make them feel comfortable, and lower their guard. People love to talk when they feel safe, so you give them that illusion. As they open up, you listen carefully, gathering all the details, picking up on their intentions, their weaknesses, and their plans. In every word they say, there's something valuable, and by the time the conversation ends, you've already collected all the information you need to stay one step ahead. The key is never letting them know you're the one gathering it all. This isn't about betrayal, it's about playing the game smart. So now, let's take a look at a historical example to better understand just how powerful this law can be. Joseph Duveen, undoubtedly the greatest art dealer of his time. From 1904 to 1940, he almost single-handedly dominated America's millionaire art collecting market. But there was one prize he couldn't seem to capture: the industrialist Andrew Mellon. Duveen was determined to make Mellon a client before he died. Duveen's friends said this was impossible. Mellon was a stiff, reserved man, and the stories he heard about Duveen, charming and talkative, rubbed him the wrong way. Mellon made it clear he had no interest in meeting Duveen, yet Duveen confidently told his friends, "Not only will Mellon buy from me, but he will buy only from me." For years, Duveen patiently tracked Mellon, studying the man's habits, tastes, and preferences. To do this, he secretly put several of Mellon's staff on his payroll, extracting valuable information about Mellon's life. By the time Duveen decided to approach Mellon, he knew as much about the man as Mellon's own wife. In 1921, Mellon was visiting London. Duveen arranged to accidentally bump into Mellon. Thanks to his inside information, he knew Mellon would be heading to the National Gallery, so Duveen just happened to get in the same elevator as him, wearing his best suit. As they talked, Duveen guided the conversation towards art, exactly what Mellon was interested in. Throughout their time together at the museum, Duveen impressed Mellon with his knowledge, making it seem like they had the same tastes in art. By the time Mellon returned to New York, he was hooked. He visited Duveen's gallery, where every piece seemed to match his taste perfectly. From then on, Mellon became Duveen's most loyal client, all because Duveen used the power of spying to understand Mellon's mind before making his move. The lesson here is clear. Going in blind rarely works. Duveen didn't rely on luck or charm alone. He armed himself with knowledge. By quietly gathering information, he was able to be at the right place at the right time, making it seem like everything was a happy coincidence. Duveen's rivals couldn't figure out how he always seemed to know what his clients wanted before they even asked. His secret? Spying. By keeping his sources invisible, Duveen seemed almost clairvoyant. He knew what his clients wanted before they did. That's the power of working as a spy. When people can't see how you get your information, they can't defend themselves against it. In the game of power, your ultimate goal is to control future events. But there's one big challenge. People rarely reveal their true thoughts, emotions, or plans. They often hide their weaknesses, obsessions, and motives, which keeps you in the dark and makes it hard to predict their moves. So how do you uncover what they're hiding without raising suspicion? You have to find a way to dig into their secrets without them realizing what you're up to. Luckily, it's not as hard as it seems. Acting friendly and approachable allows you to gather information on both friends and enemies without drawing attention. While others rely on horoscopes or tarot cards to guess the future, you can rely on something much more concrete: the information you gather from real people. One of the most common ways to gather intel today is by quietly observing someone's social media activity. What do they post? Who are they following? What do they like and share? These digital breadcrumbs can reveal much more than people realize. Every post is a small window into their thoughts and priorities. For example, frequent posts about specific topics, whether it's fitness, politics, or lifestyle, can show what they care about most. Their follow list? That's a map of their influences. Are they following industry leaders, competitors, or certain public figures? It gives you insight into who's shaping their thoughts. These patterns allow you to predict their behavior and even manipulate future interactions. The trick is not just to see what's there, but to notice what's missing. What are they not saying? What are they avoiding? The silence around certain topics can be just as telling as the content they actively engage with. However, even this method has its risks. You might get valuable insights, but relying too heavily on someone's digital trail can be misleading. That's why it's often more effective to combine this with direct interactions. Another effective way of spying is spying through others like Duveen did. This method is effective but comes with risks. You're not in full control of those gathering the intel. They could expose your plans through carelessness or worse, turn against you. That's why it's often better to play the spy yourself. By posing as a friend, you can gather valuable information in everyday conversations and social settings. People tend to let their guard down during casual encounters, and if you suppress your own personality and listen closely, they'll reveal far more than they realize. The beauty of this approach is that they'll mistake your interest for genuine friendship. Not only do you learn more about them, but you also make allies in the process. However, this tactic requires caution. If people start to suspect you're prying into their lives, they'll avoid you. Keep your questions light, focus on friendly conversation, and never appear too eager for information. If your probing becomes too obvious, they'll learn more about your intentions than you'll learn about theirs. Information is key to power, but just as you spy on others, you must be ready for them to spy on you. One of the strongest defenses in this battle is to give out false information. As Winston Churchill said, truth is so precious that it should be protected by a bodyguard of lies. By surrounding your truth with carefully planted lies, you control what others believe, and in turn, you control the game. If you want to know why you should never reveal your true intentions, click here for Law 3. And if you're ready to dive deeper into power, click here to watch the full playlist.